Hi everyone, this is Ms. Helms, and by the end of this video, you should be able to identify and apply congruent shortcuts such as side, 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 angle, and angle, angle, side. In this problem, we're asked to state whether the triangles are congruent and name the congruence shortcut. If the triangles cannot be shown to be congruent, right cannot be determined, and explain why not. So first thing that we want to do is figure out which triangles are we going to try to show are congruent. We have two triangles in this diagram. We have triangle GHK, and we also have triangle JKH. So we want to determine, is there enough information to prove that these triangles are congruent? Well, based on what we're given, we know that GH is congruent to JK based on the diagram because they have the tick marks. So that shows that these segments are congruent. We are also given that GH is parallel to KJ. Well, what we learned in the previous unit was that if we have parallel lines cut by a transversal, we have special angles that are formed. With these special angles, if we take a look at this diagram, we can see that angle GHK is an alternate interior angle to angle JKH. So since we have parallel lines cut by a transversal, we know that these two angles have to be congruent because they are alternate interior angles. Again, this was a property that we discovered in our previous unit. So we can state that angle GHK is congruent to angle JKH. So this is two pieces of information that we know, and we need to figure out one more piece of information to prove triangles are congruent because we always need those three pieces of information. So taking a look at this diagram, we want to determine, is there anything else that we know from this diagram to prove these triangles are congruent? Well, if we take a look at KH here, KH is a shared side in both triangles. Both triangles have this exact same side, so therefore, by the reflexive property, KH is congruent to itself. So the third part that we know is that KH is congruent to itself, KH, by the reflexive property. We could always redraw these triangles to highlight this information. So if I go ahead and redraw, we'll say this is G, this is H, and this is K. And in the other triangle, this will be J, and this will be K, and this will be H. Again, marking the diagram with the given information, we know that GH is congruent to JK. We know that angle GHK is congruent to angle JKH. And we know that KH is a shared side, so it's congruent to itself using the reflexive property. We can state that these triangles are congruent by the shortcut side, angle, side, because we know two sides and the included angle between those two sides are congruent to each other in both triangles. So therefore, the triangles that are congruent, the congruent statement would be triangle GHK is congruent to triangle JKH. Nice work!